What is going on, Failroaders? I'm Joshua Thomas, and I'm back to talk more about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We are going to predict, or I'm going to give you my predictions for what's going to happen in Rebirth. I think so positively that these are going to happen that I'm going to say that I guarantee this is going to happen in Rebirth. And I'm going to try to go chronologically, and of course, warning, spoilers abound. So first, Sephiroth will not be a playable character, and there's a good possibility that Zack won't be a playable character either, but I can guarantee Sephiroth won't be playable. I made a whole video on this, and the gist of it is that we shouldn't be able to control him because Sephiroth is not controllable. He controls us, we don't control him. Next on the list, the devs did say that certain locations were going to be visited out of order and possibly even not visited until the third game, and I think Fort Condor is going to be one of those locations. We pretty much saw every location, or at least bits and pieces of every location on the Eastern continent, except for Fort Condor. That's the only location on the Eastern continent that we didn't see in the latest trailer. And I believe the reason there is because it's either out of order, in other words, it might even be on an island or something, like separated by water somehow. But I don't think that we will be in Fort Condor, at least early game, and I think they could possibly move it to the third game, where we will be hunting for large materia. Let's see. Number 3, Cait Sith is going to be a playable character. Obviously, I think that's obvious, but the party is not going to accept him as easily as they did in the original game. In the original game, he reads Cloud's fortune and basically weasels his way into the party by saying, "Wow, what a neat fortune. I need to follow you guys to see how this plays out." Cloud's not going to let him into the party just for that. So he's going to have to earn his way into the party by helping them out in a different way. Yuffie is going to join us in Junon. I think, how she's going to join us, I don't exactly know, but I do believe Junon is where she's going to join the party. And of course, Vincent and Cid are going to join the party in the same way in which they did in the original game. Although Vincent is going to be a mandatory character, so the first time that we visit the Shinra Mansion, we are going to get him. And then, of course, Cid will be in Rocket Town, and I don't know that we're going to have a tiny Bronco, though. And if we do have a tiny Bronco, I think it's going to be more than a one-seater, and this is going to be one of those situations where, like we saw in the trailer in the Mithril Mines, the party is going to be split somehow. And so when the party makes their escape, only like Cid and 2 or 3 others are going to be escaping via the tiny Bronco, and everyone else will escape in some other manner. Or maybe the party will have been separated through some other means, and the tiny Bronco will be a means with which we get back together. There's also a possibility that the tiny Bronco will not be used as a means of transportation through shallow waters. There's a very good possibility that we could get some other mode of transportation. The Temple of the Ancients. This is one area where I think that it's going to go pretty much the way it did in the original game. Now, there's also a possibility that this could be one of the ending points of Rebirth, but I'm going to go with the theory that Rebirth is going to go all the way to the northern crater and end with the cliffhanger of Barret and Tifa being imprisoned and opening the windows, and we're going to see Meteor looming off into the atmosphere, and the atmosphere being blood red. And then it's going to cut to the credits, and that's going to be the cliffhanger. Speaking of in-game content, someone important is going to die. Who's going to die? I can't really say. There's so many different possibilities, but I do believe that if, once again, spoiler alert, if Aerith dies, it's not going to be in the same way as in the original. In fact, I think they're going to lead us to believe that it's gonna happen, and then somehow, some way, it gets changed. It could be Zack, but then there's also the possibility that it could even be Sephiroth who protects Aerith from Sephiroth. Remember, we've got this future Sephiroth, and then we've got this past Sephiroth, and we don't necessarily know if those two are communicating or if they are one and the same yet. And there's a possibility that the past Sephiroth, or the Genova Sephiroth, is simply working, sort of in autopilot, like the devs suggest in some of the Ultimania. And then the Sephiroth from the future could come in and stop the Sephiroth from the past, or the Genova Roth, whatever you want to call him. I think that's a possibility. Another thing that actually I don't think is going to happen is I don't think that we're going to fight an evil version of Cloud, or a Genova-controlled Cloud. Even though we do see that Sephiroth does manipulate and take control of Cloud multiple times throughout the original and influences him in Remake, I don't think that he's going to go so far as to turn full evil and we're going to have some kind of end-game boss battle against him. I just don't think that's going to happen. So, and then, finally, we'll end this on a happy note. We are going to get the date scene, and I do believe that the choices that we make throughout the earlier portion of the game is going to affect who we go on the date with. Now, I've theorized that I've imagined that it would be fun to be able to go on a date with any of the other 8 characters, but, Cait Sith and Vincent and Cid joined the party so late that you wouldn't really have that many opportunities to have choices with them that would influence whether they go on the date with you or not. But I do believe that at least the original characters you could go on the date with, Yuffie, Barrett, Aerith, and Tifa, will at least be some options. It'd be pretty cool if Red was in there too. Like, just go on a date with your best boy. But anyway, those are my guaranteed moments in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Let me know in a comment below what yours are, and be sure to like and subscribe to the FailroadExpress. Join our Discord. We have Final Fantasy VII content on there as well, including a spoiler-free chat and a spoiler-full chat. So thank you guys, and I'll check you guys next time.